always like to start before talking about much to at least play a little bit of guitar. That was, I don't know, some sort of improvisation in E, borrowing my bandmate's killer ES-175. Very cool guitar. I'm in Columbus for a doubleheader with my rock band Doc Robinson, doing 2 nights sold out at a great venue in town called Natalie's. But that's besides the point, because I've been thinking about this topic for a long time. I don't want to spend forever on it, but it's important that I address it for myself, at least. So I was on Instagram probably from maybe 2013 on 2014 when it first sort of came onto the scene, and back when the point was to take pictures and put stupid filters on them, and they all looked horrible anyways, of like food or like friends or like a skyline or something. But of course, as time went on and we all have come to find the allure of posting on social media, especially Instagram, and I was someone who was really obsessed with that. And at least by 2015, I was focused. A lot of my days were spent, thinking about what video I was going to do next and what hashtags I was going to use to, get the right amount of leverage and exposure. And it was something that really took hold of me over the next, I'd say 5 years, 2015 to 2020. And it was a very difficult decision, but I decided to delete my Instagram once in 2020. I deleted my Facebook and my Instagram, just actually wiped it clean. And I felt really good. I was not focused on the next video or the next thing I'm going to learn for the next video or practicing for the next video or taking a bunch of takes and then editing and all of that. And I found that I was much more present with my own playing, first and foremost, let alone being present in the real physical world. Now, it was 2020 and everything was crazy that year. I went to grad school and I ended up starting an Instagram again, probably halfway through grad school, maybe 2021. And around that time, I think, is when I started doing some episodes of my podcast, Beyond the Frets, I've been on hiatus for a while. But anyways, I started putting myself out there again, and I doubled down on the Beyond the Frets sort of moniker, because my original Instagram was just Zach J. And yeah, I doubled down on Instagram Beyond the Frets and did very, specific types of videos and content that you see a lot of now. But it was the short form thing. So I felt like I was leaning into a more education pedagogical bent. That was the purpose of the videos. Most of them was teaching rather than playing and trying to be an exciting player like originally on Instagram. But these were teaching videos, teaching everything from musicality to improvisation to advanced voicings to playing funk or whatnot. And that account had some traction, and by 2022 I had like 17,000 followers, and I had met a lot of great people on the platform, and it was really fun and encouraging to have that level of feedback and affirmation and frankly validation. Not to get too heavy, but there is an addictive part of me, Zach Jones, and I was addicted to social media. I would be on it way too much, and let alone spending time being addicted to producing content in the ways that I did, which I thought were, of course, important and necessary for being a professional musician in the 20s. But also the things I followed and consumed, which, a lot of it is comparing yourself in whatever way. It's musical, it's musically, personally, financially, emotionally, sexually, like all of that is right there. No matter how hard you try to steer your own algorithm, that's not what it is. It's designed to have us be on there as long as possible, and it's designed to propagate jealousness and hate. So a lot of things happened. Long story short, finished grad school, started teaching at my alma mater as the head of jazz studies. First as the head of the guitar program, then the head of jazz studies. And I realized I was a better person when I was not on my phone. Because all I did was wait for a new like or a new comment or a new follow or something else exciting. And I would pick up my phone and, it would always kind of go with like or delete the app and, re-download the app and do all that stuff. And I would pick up my phone and like instinctively tap where the app used to be and nothing was there. And I was just like, oh my God, like what is this? So it's been 3 years since I officially decided to deactivate my Instagram, and I'm never gonna be on it again. So Beyond the Frets will never be on Instagram. It'll never be on TikTok, and I will never do short form content on YouTube or anywhere else. I truly believe that it is toxic for every single person that interacts with it. And I'm not here to yell at you about you having an Instagram or you having a Facebook or a TikTok and telling you that you're beneath me and I'm on a pedestal and you need to delete all your stuff and become a stoic, ascetic person. Because that's not what it is. But I do want to share my experience. In the last 3 years, since I deactivated my Instagram, and of course the fear was like, oh my God, like no one's gonna know who I am. I'm not gonna get, I'm not gonna have access to, famous people or really cool gigs, or I'm not going to get endorsements. I'm not gonna, reach all these people and who are gonna buy my albums and go to my gigs, etc. In the last 3 years since I deactivated it, I have made more money consistently on a hyperbolic scale. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that, but I'll tell you, Instagram is not one of them. When it comes down to my experiences that led me to a place where I'm making a full-time living as an educator, I consider myself an educator more than anything nowadays, and performer, guitarist, composer, etc. The experiences and paths that led me to this really fortunate position had nothing to do with Instagram. There wasn't like one special video that blew up or one specific connection that I was able to leverage. It was the people I met in real life. It was the 2 degrees that I got and worked my ass off for both. And the 10 plus years of getting my ass kicked by amazing musicians, many of them older than me, which is the key, having that mentorship level. And then also people my age and now younger than me, where I'm a mentor in certain scenarios. Those are the things that led me to where I am now, where I feel like I'm a capable educator on multiple fronts. I am confident arranging and composing. I'm confident as a guitarist in many different styles. I'm confident as a musician and an improviser, and I'm confident as a writer and confident more as a human too. Because once I started to deactivate and unplug, it was very clear that my self-esteem and self-worth was tied intrinsically to the internet. And while I did delete my Instagram once, it was that 2020 year, and I started grad school, so I didn't really think it was that big of a deal. But after I deactivated it the second time, once being on the threads got sort of big, whatever, that's when I realized, wow, like, who even am I? And that's what I was afraid of, when I knew every day that I shouldn't be on this thing. There's nothing positive about it. I think it's a sickness. I think it brings everyone down. It takes away so much energy and time that I realized I didn't even have in the first place. I've been off it 3 years, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so fucking busy. Like, what? How did I even make time for that? And that's because, as addicts do, we will go to the ends of the earth to make time for our addiction. And we will make excuses and move the goalpost for things that we know are good for us. That sort of deferred living, like, oh, I'll get to that. I'll get to the gym, or I know I got to get off Instagram more. But things we don't do, basically like New Year's resolutions, except we tell them to ourselves every fucking week and we don't do it. Unplugging for me has been incredible, and I've been able to focus on so many things that are not related to the guitar. And for me, I think that's why I'm now more successful than ever. And I'm not trying to brag or say that I'm enlightened, but this is my experience, and I never would have realized this would have been the case. I never could have imagined that being off Instagram and Facebook, I deactivated Facebook because Facebook is just a fucking cesspool. I never could have imagined I would not only be in a better financial situation, much, much better, but be in a better place mentally and socially. Yeah, did I lose connections? Yeah, there's a lot of people I don't talk to. But frankly, as soon as my circle got smaller, I felt like I could make more of an impact in the world. Because if I have all these impressions of thousands of people, and you feel like you're reaching to them, and I understand that people can be affected deeply and personally by content. I realize that. I'm still on YouTube, and I like this platform because I don't have that constant scrolling addiction, and I'm not like replying and following people necessarily. That's kind of not what it is. I just kind of put stuff up there and all right, cool. But as all of this was unfolding and I was kind of detoxing, I realized this is the most important and the least important thing in my life. Not the specific guitar, it's not my guitar, but the guitar. A good friend of mine who worked on my guitars a lot in Columbus, he said that, we were talking about tuning the guitar and how sometimes you just can't tune the damn thing and you just feel like it's fighting back. It's like, you have to remember that a guitar used to be a tree, and sometimes it wants to go back to being a tree. It's just not gonna fuck with you today. Like, wow, that's awesome. So this thing used to be a tree, and it's wood and metal, and it kind of is meaningless, right? Because on its own, it does nothing. This doesn't do anything. It is a tool, just like a hammer or a paintbrush or the mind, the pen. This doesn't do anything. It's the person that is wielding it that can give it life. So I don't have to spend my time exclusively on my instrument to be a better person or to even be a better musician. I think Wayne Shorter said something to the effect of, if all I did was music, then there's no point, because life informs our music. Living life as art as life. I think there is so much to that. And David Lynch is a great example of someone who lived exactly like that, where there was completely seamless between the two worlds, which is such an awesome part of his universe. Rest in peace. I think I'll probably shut up soon, but I feel very secure in my decision to leave Facebook and Instagram and short form content and running that rat race. And it has paid dividends. That has been extremely fruitful. And I understand I'm, at the crossroads between talent, luck, and a lot of hard work. I know I've had a lot of awesome opportunities that I know not everyone gets to be a working musician and feel like that they're able to lead these platforms and make some semblance of a living. So I understand I'm in a position that not many people are in, but it is possible. I really believe it's possible for anyone, and taking that mindset of making your circle smaller to make more of an impact has cleared the path of obstacles a lot of the time. There's always obstacles, but by getting myopic in a positive way forces me to deepen my connections with the people that really matter, forces me to deepen my connection with the instrument in ways that matter, forces me to think way long term. I don't care what I sound like today. I've got a gig tonight, sold out gig. I don't care what I sound like tonight. I know it's gonna be good. Like there is like a level, like I know I'm gonna crush. Frankly, this is my rock band. Like I know what we're doing. I don't care what I sound like tomorrow. I don't care what I sound like in a month, whatever. This is for life. So if I'm trying to have a sustainable career as a musician in some way, shape, or form, and it'll morph over time because I like that flexibility, I have to think long term, and I have to have these healthy habits and routines and find that affirmation and worth in places that are not on my phone. And I know I'm maybe being hypocritical because I'm making a stupid fucking YouTube video and posting this, but to me, maybe I'm rationalizing, as addicts do, maybe I'm rationalizing that YouTube is better, but I do feel like this is not as pernicious and toxic as some of the other platforms. And I feel like because I'm able to do longer content just like this, I feel super happy and excited to put out YouTube videos about Ed Biggert or voicings or analyzing things or nerding out about voicings, because I can teach exactly as I do in real life. Like I take my time, I stumble with my sentences, and I'm showing you the process of what this all looks like and means to me, rather than a hyper produced 60-second facsimile of what I want you to think Beyond the Frets is. This is what Beyond the Frets is. It's me. I'm a dude. My name's Zach Jones. I live in Broadview Heights, Ohio. Fucking have 3 cats, and I like watching X-Files and movies. And hanging out with my fiance. So that's me. That's what this is about. I'm gonna shut up now, and I look forward to giving you more videos that explore music and life and the guitar and my favorite artists in ways that go deep and inspire you and challenge you and hopefully turn you into the next generation of humans that are, just a little bit better than the last. That's kind of the whole goal, right? So I'll end with another improvisation.